Just recently, I bought a snowblower, and I've never had one before, and we had it delivered. It was one of those Black Friday deals. You can't pass it up. So we had it delivered, free shipping. It showed up in a box. That's my daughter, Christina, right there, and she wanted to help me unpack it. So a few days ago, we went to the garage, and we started unpacking that thing, and it was exciting. And we're opening it up, and it should have only taken about 15 minutes from start to finish, including gathering the tools to put this thing together. It did not take 15 minutes. It took what felt like an eternity to put this thing together. And you know what? I blame it not on the piece of equipment. I blame it on all of the manuals that showed up with this thing and all the stickers and the things that, warning signs and things that you had to go through just to figure out how to unpack it. And so I'm looking through this, and I want to make sure I do it the right way. These things aren't cheap, so I wanted to do it the right way. So I began looking through the owner's manual, and of course, they have it in different languages, and they can I just be honest? The people that write these things, they are not good people. Like, whoever is designing and giving pictures on how to put together furniture or snowblowers and things like that, they are not Christians, I'm convinced of it, or something like that, because they have caused so much anxiety in my life. And nothing's ever accurate. There's nothing to scale, and anyway, I digress. It's a frustration that I have. So I'm opening this, I'm reading through this, and we're putting everything together, and making sure all the cables are tight and doing all that stuff. And then we get to this section and the engine manual where it starts talking about the oil. And instantly, it seems like the entire page is loaded with alerts and errors and like skull and crossbone. Pay attention. This is really important. You'll destroy your machine if you don't pay attention to this. I was like, all right, well, I probably should pay attention a little bit. And I start reading through it. And the first thing it says is some machines come with oil, some don't. I'm like, well, that's helpful. Seems like, for $1, you can just put all machines with oil, but that's fine. So I begin to read through, and I read, how do you check it, and how do you double check it, and you got to make sure, and they start telling you all the reasons why. If you don't have the right oil, and you don't put enough in, if you run it this way, and if it's a cold start, and they just start going through all these things, and they make it very clear, abundantly clear, that you will destroy your machine, and we will not help you out at all in returning it or fixing it if you destroy this machine. So it's like, okay, well, that's important. So I do what you're supposed to do. I find the part where you put the oil in, pull it out, and grab the dipstick. And I look at the dipstick, and there is liquid at the end of the dipstick. And it's halfway between full and empty. So I'm like, okay, so there's liquid. The problem is the liquid was crystal clear. It looked like water, just some sort of jelly water type thing. There was no color to it. When I learned how to change oil, and even in our vehicles now, when I learned how to at least check the oil is like black as night. It's like sludge. So I don't know if there was a vote that we as Americans had that I missed to make oil crystal clear. I don't know what happened, but somewhere along the line, oil became clear, or at least some particular oils did. And so I'm looking at it going, well, I don't know if that's clear or not, so I did what I was supposed to do and grabbed a rag and wiped it off and put it in there and pulled it out, and there's still liquid there. Did it again a few times, just wanted to make sure. Read the manual 7 more times, it felt like. Put it back in, started the thing up, and it starts up right away, and it gets running. And I like the snowblower, and here's a picture of it. I like the snowblower. This thing is, I'm going to be honest, let me put a pause in the story. It's 100% overkill. Let me just be, I have come to terms with the fact that I may have went a little bit overboard. Even my dad was like, come on, do you really need one that big? But there's a hurt that I have that I'd like to share with you guys from my past. It's maybe the reason or the motive as to why I bought such a big one, other than the fact that it was a really good deal. When we were growing up, we had a decent-sized driveway. I mean, it wasn't by any means a mansion, but it was a long enough driveway where you're not going to want to go out and shovel it every night. And we would always ask my dad, Dad, can we buy a snowblower? Everybody else has one. And his answer every single time, I don't know why we expected anything different, but every single time his answer was, why would I buy a snowblower when I've got 5 of them? Talking about us 5 boys. Like, oh, and of course we hated that answer. And the thing was, we complained like we were out there all the time shoveling. The reality was we shoveled maybe 10% of the time collectively. My dad did 90% of it, but we complained as if we shoveled 300% of the time. Like we were out there shoveling in the middle of summer, and he was just, it was like child labor laws that he was breaking. So buying the snowblower, I'm gonna go all out, I'm gonna get the big boy. Get it all set up, turn it on, starts up right away. And my daughter's so excited. I'm happy. There's no reason for me to be doing this other than I'm just excited. And I'm going up and down our driveway at nighttime with the light on. Just drive. There's no snow. I'm just going up and down the driveway. I'm hoping some of our neighbors come out to just inquire as to what it is, and I can give them all the stats and tell them about it. And no one did. And Christina, she's so excited, like, Dad, it's so cool. And I'm just excited. But the problem was, it wasn't really running well, and there was a lot of smoke coming from it. Somebody's like, I'm like, oh no. So I get it back, and I remember, of course, the manual, and I'm looking at it, so I pull the dipstick back out again. I'm like, I know that's got to be something. They didn't put jelly in there. It's got to be some sort of liquid. So I did what any sane person would do, is I loaded it up with a whole bunch of oil. I was like, I'm just going to keep putting more oil in. And I stopped, but I noticed that the dipstick kept rising with its liquid level. I stopped a little bit above full, and I thought to myself, there's no way me putting oil in is not registering. So I feel like I'm there. Come to find out, I had the choke set wrong and got it all fixed. So thing runs great. I'll be able to use this amazing machine for like 3 days this winter season, apparently, because we're not going to have any snow, and that's good for us. But the thing is this. If you are faithful and you are diligent in maintaining things like snowblowers, vehicles, boats, things that have motors like that, if you will go through the proper motions of regularly scheduled maintenance, if you will do that, you will extend the life of that machinery. If you don't, you will shorten it, and it will break, and it will cost you more money, and you won't be able to sell it for a lot of money. Just all the way around, it's not a good idea. It's going to be unreliable, and it's going to break down on you. And that's why it's important to have regularly scheduled maintenance plan. I read the maintenance plan in that manual. I'm going to have to pretty much quit my job and full-time maintain the snowblower. They have so many things you have to do to keep this thing running. So I'm going to have to choose which things I'm not going to do and intentionally decide which things are going to fall to the wayside. But the same thing is true in our lives. When we take care of our lives, when we faithfully do what God has called us to do, and when we are faithful to the different areas of our lives, it's like scheduled maintenance. It keeps things running the right way. Now, I will be honest with you guys, and I've told this story before. I seized up an engine one time. I had a car, it was an old one, and driving down, the oil burned up on it, and I knew it too. I was like an hour and a half out. The oil was gone. It's smoking. It's making a tons of noise, and I thought to myself, I'm going to finish this drive because I don't like this car and I want a new one. No, it's not just, I was just driving. I didn't want to be stuck in the middle of Oklahoma. So I just drove and drove and drove. And the moment my dad's looking at me like, wait a minute. I had to help you. So we get there, and the moment I pull into the parking lot of where I was staying, the engine seized up. I didn't hit the brakes. I didn't put it in park. It stopped. That motor was done. And that's because it was towards the end of the life of the vehicle, and I didn't take care of it. This is what Luke chapter 16, verse 10 says. One who is faithful in very little is also faithful in much, and one who is dishonest in very little is also dishonest in much. It's those small daily disciplines that we have in relation to our friends, our church, our relationship with God, our spouses, our children, our finances, our jobs, our health. It's those disciplines, those maintenance items, if you will, that make a huge difference. And when you are faithful in those areas, it will change your life. It's not glamorous. Changing the oil and fixing things and checking oil pressure and doing all that stuff, it's not fun, it's not glamorous, no one loves to spend the money on it, but if you will do it, you will protect your investment for as long as you possibly can in the natural. Spiritually, the same thing is true. In every area of your life, if you are faithful, that area will be blessed.